In this video, I'm going to share my top 3 secrets on how you can study once and remember forever. The system has failed us, guys. Let's be honest, it has failed us woefully. Where I come from, no one will sit you down in the classroom and teach you how to study. From the basic school where you should have been taught and guided on how to study effectively, but no one would come to your aid. They expect you to learn your books but won't exactly teach you how to do it. It is a DIY project, so you are left with no choice than to stick to the traditional methods. Endless writing of notes, reading and rereading of notes, the chew and pour and forget approach. I have been asked countless of times by friends and colleagues on how they could study and never forget. Forgetfulness is the number one plague among students. So, what did I do to help my friends? I started out very early, asking questions and researching on so many things, wanting to know how I could study, learn the material, understand it, and won't ever have to worry about forgetting it. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Jabra and I'm a 4th year medical student. I make videos speaking about effective study methods and tips and productivity hacks that is second to none, backed by science and research, and it is 100% practical. And if that sounds like something you are interested in, please consider subscribing to my channel right now. Today, I'm going to share my secrets. The secrets to learn and never forget anything. The secrets of every top student. These tips and techniques that I'm about to share with you have actually helped me to be able to remember information, principles, and formulas I learned since when I was in high school. First of all, I want you to pick a reading method that works for you. It is not a one-size-fits-all something. Naturally, how do you approach a learning material? What are your cognitive processes once you are exposed to the material? I will give you the options to choose from. Some of the reading methods you can apply include the SQ3R Method, the PQ4R Method, and the THIEVES Method. And I think that's okay for now. You just need one of them. Now, let's talk about the SQ3R Method. With the SQ3R approach, you will learn to think critically about the text. There are 5 steps to this method. The S is survey. You have to first of all skim through the material, just a quick scan. At this point, you don't need to worry about the details. All you need to do is to focus on the headings, the highlighted words in bold, and any diagrams, images or charts. This will give you a mental outline of the chapter, helping to organize your thoughts. You shouldn't spend up to 10 minutes doing this. The Q is question. Based on your quick survey, ask questions about the chapter or concept. Questions such as, what is the main idea of this chapter? What are the key concepts? How do these ideas relate to my existing knowledge? You don't have to have all the answers right at that instance. Just keep them in mind. These questions will spark your interest and motivate you to read the chapter. The first 3 R's stand for read, recite, and review. Read the entire chapter while looking for answers to your questions. Focus on understanding the main ideas and key concepts. Make connections to what you already know and think it is related to the chapter or concept to better facilitate your understanding. Make analogies, both the logical and silly ones. The more weird they are, the more relatable they become. So, if I was reading on how blood flows throughout the circulatory system, I would compare it to a highway system. Imagine the heart as the central hub, pumping blood, which are the vehicles containing the cells, through the arteries, which would represent our highway here. Just as cars travel on highways, blood flows through arteries. The arteries branch into smaller roads, the arterioles, which eventually lead to tiny streets, the capillaries, where oxygen and nutrients are delivered to the tissues. As the cars, that's the blood, return to the hub, they travel through the venules, which are the return highways, and then merge into larger roads, the veins, and eventually back to the central hub. Yeah, you get the point. Now, summarize the main ideas in your own words. Recite the key concepts and try to recall them from memory. Tell yourself the answers to your questions. You can even write notes about them. Don't be so hard on yourself if you are not able to recall a lot from memory. Just be sure you capture the key concepts. And then the last R stands for review. Review the material to reinforce your understanding. Go over the chapter and read your notes. Read them aloud. When you read silently, you are only using your eyes to do so. But when you read it out loudly, You engage your mouth to pronounce the words, your eyes to read them, and your ears to hear yourself. Multi-senses in the learning process, and all three are connected in the brain physiology. See it, say it, hear it. Scientists refer to this benefit as the production effect. Summarize the main ideas and ask yourself questions to ensure you've grasped the concept. The PQ4R is basically the same as the SQ3R method, except that there is an extra R which stands for reflect. So, after you've thoroughly read the material and trying to find answers to your questions, you pause to reflect and see if there are any unanswered questions or new questions coming up in your thoughts. So you see, they are basically the same. Let's talk about the THIEVES method. THIEVES method, that's quite a name. In this method, there are 7 pre-reading steps. We have the title, headings, introduction, every first sentence in a section, visuals and vocabulary, end questions and summary. It is also similar, very similar to the other 2 methods. So, you first read the title, look through the headings, skim the intro, take a look at how each sentence begins, look at the pictures and the words in bold letters, review the questions at the end of the chapter, then finally read the overview of the text. In a nutshell, ask yourself thought-provoking questions as you work through these steps after completing them. Read the text. It is about learning smart and not hard. The hard way is boring, ineffective, and very stressful. And this brings us to our next tip. Trust me, guys, this tip is going to help you to remember information with ease and at a faster rate. You know about it, you are just not doing it. I'm talking about the use of mnemonics, acronyms, flowcharts, images, rhymes, and mind maps. Let's talk about mnemonics. You've probably used them before. Do you remember your SOCATOA, fuel, PEMDAS, or BODMAS in mathematics? Do you also remember this rhyme that we used to sing back at basic school? 30 days has September, April, June, and November, blah 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 blah. There are countless of them that people have created and make it easier to remember facts and listen in an orderly fashion. But what is a mnemonic? Oh, sorry, not the one starting with P, but a mnemonic. It is from a Greek word, mnemonikos, which means of memory. To keep it simple, mnemonics are devices to aid overburdened memory. They are not meant to replace high-order thinking, but to facilitate efficient encoding by associating new information with the knowledge which is already stored in your long-term memory. A great tool when you have to memorize names, vocabs, or learn mathematics. The next time you want to memorize a list of facts, try using mnemonics. You can take the first letters of each word that begins every list and try to get a pattern out of them, or create acronyms with the letters. For instance, if you want to memorize the subtypes of microcytic hypochromic anemias, which include thalassemias, anemia of chronic diseases, iron deficiency anemia, lead poisoning, and sideroblastic anemia. You see, taking the first letters of each point will give TAILS, tails, which is easier to remember. So right now, if I want to remember the subtypes of microcytic hypochromic anemias, I'll first of all remember tails and then consider what each letter stands for. Remember how I said it is a stepping stone to higher order thinking? This is it. Now you've established a system to help you remember the thing faster. This method of using mnemonics to aid recall will become very handy, especially in the exams when you are under pressure and you are confused. Let's cite another example. You know the bones of the wrist. I'm referring to the carpal bones. The scaphoid, the lunate, the triquetrum, the pisiform, the trapezium, the trapezoid, the capitate, and the hamate, taking them from top to bottom, from lateral to medial, considering that the hand is in its anatomic position. To remember them, I used this mnemonic. Some lovers try positions that they cannot handle. Yes, there are countless of mnemonics that you can create to facilitate your recall without even trying. Using mnemonics, I was able to remember the bones in their respective positions, which is important in anatomy. There are so many ways you can do this. You just have to figure out a pattern that is both easy and interesting. Let's learn some Spanish here. If you want to remember that to buy in Spanish is comprar, you might create a vivid picture of a man who compares the prices of products before they purchase. Not that complicated, right? I can't talk about Spanish without talking about French because I like both languages and I also happen to be teaching myself some French. In French, la maison translates to the house, which I associate with the mansion to help me remember, since la maison sounds similar to mansion. Even the letters in their spellings are almost the same. Now you get the trick, right? I could go on and on and on, but let's talk about something else. Another thing you can do to help you memorize information is to absorb the information in smaller chunks. Think about how you memorize a phone number. You divide the number into 3 smaller groups. It is easier to get these 3 chunks to stick in your mind than it is to remember the whole thing as a single string of information. So, if you want to memorize a lot of information all at once, you will end up setting your brain up on fire. And from experience, I'm sure you can relate to what I'm saying. You can use this strategy when studying by breaking a list down into smaller parts. Work on memorizing each part as its own group. So there you have it. I didn't intend to make the video longer, but I hope you find it informative. There are more tips and techniques I would love to teach you. So please subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share the video with your friends. I'm Jabro Zakaria, and I am that guy. Thanks for watching, and see you soon. Bye.